Okay, section 7, related stage code. Again, we've been going through this quite some time. I realize for some students it's overwhelming. They have no interest. Again, you have to develop an interest in something. I'm not going to say it has to be in STEM related field. Your interest should be pursued though. And again, if you're thinking about pursuing a STEM related career, that is largely dependent on the education that you give yourself, and the education that you should be giving yourself if you want to enter a STEM related field is, certainly getting better at mathematics, getting better at computer science, yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of factors involved in the STEM related careers. All right. Not everyone's at the same ability though, but the thing is you need to find some kind of niche that you can get into that you're good at. All right. So I'm going to just talk about the SAGE thing. I'm not going to go to the SAGE Math website, but you can go there to run this using the interactive worksheet if you like. And that's completely up to you if you want to do that. We're not going to test you on this. Not something you have to learn. However, when you do move on to like NJIT, which a lot of our students do, one of the biggest complaints our students have when they get to NJIT is they say they don't feel like they've been prepared because so many students at NJIT have been using a CAS for 2 years longer than they have. And they're much better at it. Of course they are. They're 2 years head start. All right. Having a head start's an advantage, and you want to get that advantage. You want to have a head start too. Start thinking about your educations. But this is a tough section here. What I mean by that, this is a related stage code that looks much different than the past. By the way, I typed the reset word down twice. It's not going to change the problem, but you just have to put it down once. That's done. So I tell you something to do with the notes. And I kind of say that, I think I can remember this, but I guess I should, you know what? I'm going to define B as a variable. All right, just to play it safe. So I'm going to say B is a variable, A is a variable. You know what? A B is a variable, C is a variable. You know what? I'm starting to see other letters too, don't I? So A, let me write them all down. A, B, C. There's a difference in uppercase and lowercase letters, by the way. Equals. Remember, if I type something wrong, it's not going to blow up. A. Whoops, sorry about that. I did it again. B. They're single quotes, by the way. C. A. Did it again. I'm looking now. And you should be looking at what you're typing too. You're going to say, no one's going to pay you to type. I don't think I've ever gotten someone to type for me, except when I was a kid, by the way. Because I always found it tough to type, as you can plainly see. Oh, no error there. All right, let's write down what B is. B is 40, and we'll talk about what this code means. 41.8 star pi. I wonder what they're doing. Oh, they're approximating pi. So they do dot n. They say, oh, we don't want the pi. We want its approximate, and now divide by 180. So I want to tell you what B is now. B is in radian measure. That's the radian measure of B. Radian measure of B. So what's A? A is 16.4. Now this has something to do with a triangle, something we've been working on. C, these numbers may be familiar to you if you have good memory, and you're working the problem, by the way. All right, and let me type this thing down over here. And someone says, I wonder what this is. Well, this is the law of cosines. All right, a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b, and that would equal b squared, but I'm taking a square root of that. And what's going to turn the principal root, which is a positive number. All right, now since I wonder what b is, I'm going to type b down now for you. B is 10.96. All right, not bad. All right, let's do this, and we'll talk about what this is doing over here. This is the law of sines. So it says sine of c divided by c. Well, you know what? I don't know c, do I? Do I know a side c? Yeah. Do I know angle b? Yeah, I just did that. And do I know side b? Yeah, I just computed it. And what does it say? Solve that equation for the angle c. All right, I'm going to type c and see what we get. Wow, that was weird, huh? Nothing happened. So I want to tell you what it is. It assigned S. Let's type S down. I want to point out what I mean by that. If you look at this thing, this says solve this thing, but assign it to a variable S. So let me type in S, see what S looks like. That's weird. What does it say? It says C is equal to arcsine of that really bizarre looking number there. Right? So I'm going to go to the next line of code. And next line of code, it looks really strange, but I got to see what S square bracket 0 means before I type that code in. I'm trying to learn. Well, what did it give me? It gave me what's inside the square bracket. That's all it did. It said what's inside that square bracket. There's only one entry there. By the way, Sage starts counting at 0. So that's like a matrix with one entry in it. And what's the entry? It's basically an equation. Right? So I'm going to type in S. I'm trying to learn 0 dot right hand side. You see that? RHS, right hand side. What's the right hand side? Well, looking at it, C is equal to, so the right hand side would be arcsine. And that's exactly what I'm expecting. Now, what do I want to do? I don't want that number. It looks crazy to me. Arcsine of that number, just I don't even know what it is. So what I'm going to do, dot n. What does that do? It gives me an approximation of that number. So it's going to say, Sage, please compute the arcsine of that crazy looking integer ratio. And it does. But you know what? I still don't understand that number. Why is that? It's in radian. So what do I do? Convert it now. How do I do that? Star, whoops, sorry about that. 180 degrees. Do you remember we talked before? Divide by pi, but I don't want pi in my answer. So I want the approximate to pi. Dot n approximate pi. What do I get? 43.87, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. You learn by trying. If you don't try, you're not going to learn. Trying doesn't mean worrying. Trying means that you got to put your efforts towards learning something. All right. Let me just briefly go back over the Sage website that I talked about. There's many websites out there that deal with Sage, but I wrote a Sage website for you. No, I'm not asking you to read it. No, I'm not going to test you on it, but you can get the guidebook. The guidebook talks a lot more than we're talking about in classroom, by the way, but you can go through the optional Sage tutorial. And there's a lot of stuff down here, including how to approximate numbers, how to do that dot notation, things that if you're taking computer science about floors and ceilings, if you keep scrolling through this thing over here, a lot of things. I mean, a lot of things you could be learning. And again, you look as if I don't want to learn that stuff, then don't learn that stuff. Learn something you want to learn. All right. This is, solving trigonometric exponential equations, blah, 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 finding roots, declaring variables, solving equations with separable variables, yada, yada, yada. You could go through this line by line, day by day to learn the material if you want. We hope it's helpful, though. We hope you want to move forward. Our goal is to help you move forward. It's incumbent upon you, though, to do the moving, though. We're just encouraging you to move. All right. Thank you.